goddamn, it's Tuesday. Show Me the Money Club live Tuesdays right here on the Rideshare Guy. You can check us out on YouTube, Rumble, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, whatever they want to call it now, all these different places, as well as the audio podcast of this show will be posted the following day on Wednesday on all major podcasting platforms. But if you want the live, up to the moment, everything that's going on as we are talking, you want to make sure you're here on YouTube or Facebook, wherever we can see the chat so we can hang out with you guys and go with that. But we have a hell of a show coming for you today, especially with Lyft's new announcements, new driver benefits. We'll talk about that and everything that is going on. We're going to read the fine print for you so you know exactly what's going on. We're going to peel back the onion that they are trying to put up. That's another thing. But Sergio, how you doing today? What's going on?
Excellent. I'm still not flooded. Hanging in there. So if my internet goes out, you're on your own. Yeah, we're not used to 2 inches of rain.
Actually, out of like, I don't know, maybe 2 months of no sun, clouds, crappy weather, and just dog shit. It's finally sunny. It's a little warmer out there. It's like 40, 45, 50. So, it's not 70, 75 like you get all the time, but I'll take it where I can. So, but yeah, hopefully everything's good there. No floods, no issues or anything. So that's always a good thing. For everybody who doesn't know,
I had a flood of emails this morning. Something happened today, or what happened today?
I think so. I think there was something that happened. Maybe it was Lyft's interview with, Harry's interview with Lyft's CEO David Risher that was on earlier today. Yeah. Or maybe it was Lyft's early driver benefit announcement that we're going to be completely breaking down and talking about on the show. Speaking of what we're going to be talking about, let's get right into our rundown of what we're going to be talking about. So the first thing on the docket, of course, is going to be this Lyft driver announcement, what's going on there. Then we're going to be talking about the Uber Pro rewards when it comes to the cash reward, some issues going on there. We're going to break that down, talk about what that's all about. We're also going to be talking about the Uber and Lyft driver protests, what's going on there coming next week on Wednesday. We're also going to be talking about Lyft increasing bonuses for new driver signups. Why? What's going on there? Also, there's going to be a Sergio meet and greet March 13th in Oakland. Maybe I should talk about the Chris greet and meet in Chicago in the beginning of March. We'll have to figure that out if we want. We could do some meet and greets. We're also going to be talking about Uber introducing Trip Radar into the airport queue. We're going to be doing some funnies and fakes as well. I don't know if they're fakes, but we're going to be talking about some funnies and facts. And then we're also going to invite you guys onto the show to share your thoughts and opinions on this announcement, what's going on. We've already seen quite a few emails, quite a few comments, and of course, we've seen what's going on in the live chat already right now. So we've got a lot to break down on that. But before we do, I know, Sergio, you love this announcement because the newsletter, there's a lot of things with the newsletter.
I started writing again. I say this every show because it's once a week to remind everybody watching now and later. I quit writing for about 6 months. A lot of other things to do, obviously, but I love writing. So I started writing for our newsletter again. Please go to www.therideshareguy.com. It's free, FREE. Put your email in and you'll get a notification saying, oh, Sergio wrote an article. Now, what are the articles about? It's tips, tricks, a lot obviously to do with rideshare, with deliveries, but they're a lot more in-depth, obviously. And it could be by Jay, by Tyler, by Paula. We have amazing contributors on the newsletter side. Again, it's free. Please go sign up and you'll get a notification and you'll read it. And I really think we offer so much value on this channel, Chris. I mean, 99.99% everything we put out is free. And when it's free, you can't complain.
Yeah. Well, I think, one of the things that's good about that part of the newsletter is it's a lot more in-depth and there's a lot of visuals and stuff that can be broken down a lot more than what you can actually do inside of a YouTube video or even like the live stream. So there's a lot of things there. But yeah, you can definitely go sign up for the newsletter. You'll get those nice access to that where you can get all of those articles broken down nicely in your mailbox, email box every morning, or whenever it's shipped out, and then you'll be able to do that. So make sure you sign up. Link is going to be in the description. Again, it's free. All you got to do is just put in your email. If you don't want to subscribe anymore, you can always unsubscribe. No problem.
Yeah.
But with that being said, whew, what happened today, Sergio? What's going on?
Well, first of all, I really want to commend Harry for his interview. Before we get into the nitty gritty of this, he had an interview with David Risher that ran after my announcement. Megan, thank you so much. Thank you. So
Thanks, man.
I had done a summary of what we knew. First of all, we knew this for about how long, Chris? 10 days? A week?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like we always know these things ahead of time. We're under embargo. We can't talk about it. Although, to Lyft's credit or discredit, they had released this in the wild, and I was getting screenshots all over the place saying, "Sergio, what is this?" I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Fully well knowing I know what it was, but I can't talk about it, obviously. And they trust us that we keep the embargo, and we do. That's why we have this relationship with these companies. That's why we're kind of inside and knowing what's coming, what's going. Recommendations to them. But anyway, please go watch Harry's interview with David Risher. It is, I think, for me, it's probably Harry's best CEO interview over the last few years that he's done so many. I give him a B plus, if not an A. He pushed a lot. Maybe the coaching we had at 9:30 at night the day before had something to do with it. I said, you can't let this guy go by, skating by like they always do. No more softball, Harry.
Yeah,
And he really
he
did
definitely
push.
pushed David a little bit.
He definitely pushed a lot. He had him admit that first time, Chris, that a CEO of a rideshare company admitted that the drivers also have costs. Just like they
Mhm.
have costs, we have costs. And our costs have escalated as much as theirs, probably more, because we have more costs than they do running a vehicle. And he said that. And I wish, Dara, I know you guys are watching now. I wish you admitted the same thing, because that almost looked like, Lyft is treating drivers like humans, that we do understand where the drivers are coming from. So please go watch that. Congrats, Harry. If anybody gives Harry a bad time on that interview, you have to come talk to me. I think he did as well as he could. So with all that, Lyft.
I think beyond, well, before that, I think also too, him coming back onto the channel, kind of a
Oh,
midpoint between, because we had him on our show a few months ago at this 3 months ago, I believe, at this point. And he had basically 6 months to talk about what we've talked about on the show, and try to make some changes, because that's what they were saying. So this was a good midway point interview. We're going to get into the announcement in a little bit, but it was a good midway point. And then, some of the things that was said today will also be tracked and figured out, because
yeah,
when he does come back onto the show in a couple more months, ETA probably March, April, just so you guys know, we're looking at that range.
yeah,
Yeah, we're going to be holding more accountability to it. So every time you
yeah,
make a claim, Uber, Lyft, we're definitely holding you to it.
yeah,
And, if it goes into the negative, we're gonna call you out. Don't you worry.
yeah.
So,
And we're equal opportunity bashers.
yep.
But when we do bash, we bash with facts as opposed to just feelings. And I think it's this, maybe it's that. I heard this. We don't do that. We just kind of go, these are the facts. This is what it is. This is the numbers. This is the math, and we go at it. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. Um, the reason, by the way, they call this, Chris, the early 2024 driver announcement, is because there's more to come, and we are working on a couple of really important things, and we can't say that obviously, but so here's the basic package. I mean, this was a full package. I'm not going to deny it. There were some really good things in here. Obviously, we're going to talk most of this time about this earnings guarantee or take rate guarantee. We're going to break it down for you guys, and I have my feelings about it. It's, again, in my article in depth on the blog. Go sign up so you can read it in case I missed something here. So new driver benefits in early 2024 release. Early because there is more to come from Lyft. Earn 70% of rider fares after fees guaranteed. See where every dollar of riders' fares go. Earn more for waiting during scheduled rides. That's a positive. Find more ways to choose rides at the airport. That for me is a nothing burger. This is an important part. The most companies are trying to go EVs, obviously, by 2030, and Lyft was only in California, unlike Uber, which is nationwide with the EV credit, dollar EV credit. Now Lyft is coming in with about 5-6 states, and in fact, a couple of cities in Canada with a better actually EV credit than Uber's. 50 trips for $100. I think it's going to last about 5 months. It's a trial period probably. And something that's really we talked about on David's last interview with me on Show Me the Money Club Live was what are we doing about these unjust deactivations and what's happening? So this is Lyft's response, and I think it's a good one. Just like Uber released theirs, a few months ago when I met all the executives, including Dara in Los Angeles. Look, both companies are listening; they're doing their best. However, to dissect this package, we need to go into what affects people's pockets. So Lyft came up with this. Now I have absolutely made up my mind of what this is, and Chris has as well, and I think we're kind of lined up. Not kind of lined up, we're probably lined up. And at the end of this segment, I'm going to read a letter I received from Joe in Chicago. I think that sums up everything that I'm thinking about this subject, but here we go. So according to Lyft, again, we had this for 10 days in our hands almost, and I had enough time to read this about 8 times over, maybe 80 times over, really trying to make sense of this. According to Lyft, 15% of all drivers after external expenses. Now, let's get into this external expense part because this is where the sticking point is with all this. Lyft says that if a passenger fare is $1, 24 cents out of that $1 goes into a bucket called external expenses. What is in this external expense? Okay, because you guys want to know. I got more emails about that today. What is that, Serge? I'm like, okay, we're going to explain it to you. According to Lyft, what's in that bucket of external expenses is majority of it is commercial insurance. Okay, that the TNCs under law must provide their drivers to drive on the platform, albeit with a $2,500 deductible, which is kind of really high, but it used to be $1,000. And what else is in there? Credit card processing fees, city taxes, state taxes that you're in California, Prop 22 benefits. Also, airport drop-offs if it applies to that trip. So all these are in a bucket. There is one other thing in there that's called platform hosting fee. I don't know, that may be that they're running their website smoothly, I guess. So that 24% or 24 cents out of that dollar fare automatically goes off the top. That goes away. So now we're left with 76 cents. Follow me up, people. Out of the 76 cents, the new Lyft deal is that no driver will earn less than 70% of that 76 cents. Okay? And the cut of that remaining 76 cents after Lyft's expenses, external expenses are deducted, the split on that one is going to be 70-30. If by any chance goes below 70, the driver will be made whole on the following Monday. Not following Monday, the day after the weekend. Sunday, Monday, you should be made whole. Now, this definitely, to me, Chris, is a right step in the right direction. It definitely puts out a lot more information of where every single dollar of the fare goes. Thank you, Greg. Every single penny of every dollar that the passenger puts out. And it is definitely more transparent than what Lyft had before, because before, when you got the PDF after 10 days or 9 days, you needed an accounting degree to figure it out. Now, if you do a single trip today, you can look at it and see all the breakdown, what the external expenses were, what your take rate was, what their take rate was. It's as clear as day, definitely more transparent. Now, Also, part of the reason that I understood from reading it a million times was this. Lyft is saying that, according to Lyft, again, this is not my words. This is in their blog. You guys can go read this, right? But it's in our blog as well. According to Lyft, after the external expenses, which average about 24, some weeks it may be higher external expenses to you because of the commercial rates in the country. What city you're in, like in California, it's very high. According to Lyft, after external expenses, 88% of the remaining fare goes to the driver. This is their word, okay? They have these numbers. I'm not going to doubt these numbers. However, again, according to Lyft, 15% of all drivers somehow, maybe it's their strategy, maybe it's the style of driving that they do, have always fallen below that 70-30 cut, that guarantee now that the Lyft is introducing. Well, that means 85% are above that 70-30 cut. Again, 70-30 is a floor, is a guarantee that your earnings split is never going to be less than 70% of the passenger fare after external expenses. I am not selling you this. All I'm saying is I'm just transferring information here, okay? My opinion is not that it's a good thing or a bad thing or an increase in earnings or whatever not. You guys will hear the opinion shortly. So 85% are doing above the 70%, 30% cut, 15 are below. Is this like a Robin Hood situation? You know, take it from the rich, give it to the poor kind of a thing? Because those 15% who have not figured out how to have their take rate be above 70% probably should not be on the platform. Is it taken from the rich, give it to the poor? It seems like it to me. Is it that 85% that is going to subsidize the bottom 15%? Seems like it to me. So without confusing with all these numbers, that's the message I'm relaying. It's not what I'm thinking of what it is. It's definitely more transparent. That I got to give. However, transparency, if it's going to not put more money in my pocket, doesn't do any good for me. I cannot, buy a loaf of bread with transparency. Okay. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to let Chris put his sense in. But that's what this guarantee is about, explained as well as I can explain it.
Okay. And that was a fantastic explanation when it comes down to it. Basically, when it comes down to how much are you guaranteed as a driver, you're not going to take more than 53-ish%. And I say that where we're calculating with that 24%. So if you want to look at it as the take, it's like a 53-47 at a minimum. And again, that's if you fall below that. And Sergio is correct. If you're probably making less than that, you might want to rethink the strategies in your market. You need to watch the channel a little bit more. I would suggest starting with the 3Ps: video, planning, positioning, and patience. And then definitely not accepting everything that comes through willy-nilly, because you're just going to set yourself up. But the reality is, when me and I think every single person that's watching this right now, whether it's live or post, what's going to end up happening is you're going to look at it and say, why are they taking out the external expenses when that's part of their expenses that's built into a business? If you're a business owner, if you own a business or have owned a business, you know how a business operates. Many of you watching may not have had a business or not. I own a business as well. And so, yeah, there's a lot of operating expenses. But the problem is, I can't just deduct them and say, oh, they're all going away because they're external. No, 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 no. Those are things that you have to prepare for and you have to actually account for if you want to remain profitable in your business venture and go to the next year. So the problem is, I don't think the normalization of this particular aspect of saying, oh, we're going to take out the external fees of 24% around, because the thing is, we can always, change it accordingly. That's part of your cost of doing business. That means you need to figure out how to account better and not just account for off the table external expenses like commercial insurance. Yes, I get it. Commercial insurance is expensive, but so is personal insurance. So is car tires. So is all of our other expenses that have gone up. So that's an issue I see there. When I first started, it was an 80-20 split. That means out of $1, I made 80 cents on that dollar. I was grandfathered in right after I started was the 75-25 split, which means a driver would make 75 cents for every dollar that was brought in, and Uber and Lyft would make, the remaining. Then it went and switched to the time and distance and the upfront fare model when it came to, or I'm sorry, upfront estimate for the trip. And that was much different because it decoupled what the passenger was paying, what the driver was making. Then we went to upfront fares. Welcome to upfront fares, where they say it's transparent because you know where you're picking up and dropping off, but how they calculate that, you don't know because we've talked about when it comes to time, when it comes to distance, all of that crap is not accounted for, at least on a transparent level, meaning I'm not getting paid for every second that there's a butt in my car, for every, quarter of a mile, every half a mile, every tenth of a mile that I'm driving, whether it's extra or there to the thing. And now it's kind of taking that again, but they're putting in this floor. So what does that mean for most drivers? That means probably nothing is going to change. Probably nothing. But could that mean it could be a pay cut down the road? In time, it could be. I mean, basically, we've seen talked about whether they're trying to get you down to a Prop 22 level, which means Prop 22 is 100 and what is it again, Sergio, for the
Yep.
minimum fare or the minimum earning
It's
floor?
120% of minimum fare in
Minimum,
the
yeah.
county that you're in.
Okay.
So it's
So
going to
are
come
they
to about it's about $20.
okay? So let's just say, are they trying to bring fares for everybody down? So that means out of the range of what people are making, are they going to kind of squish it down like that? And then bring these people up a little bit? I don't know. I don't think so. It's possible, and that's kind of what upfront fares could be. Is it boiling the frog in a pot of water from heating it up from lukewarm to boil, or is it just trying to boil the water immediately? So this is something where obviously we're going to have to track it. I think part of it is yes, it's more transparent when it comes to what you're making, what they're taking, and things like that. But I don't like how they're trying to normalize external expenses and then say, oh, we're going to take that off the top and you're going to be left with, at least a minimum of 70-30 on whatever's profit after that. That you got to take into account your expenses. When it comes to taxes, when it comes to those types of things, you could just add that on top of the fare. That's what you do with everything else. You go to a store, you spend whatever amount of money you're going to spend. Let's say it's $100. Then you have your taxes added on top of that. So it shouldn't even take into account. Let's just add the taxes on top or something onto the fare. I don't care. But when it comes down to it, something like commercial insurance and all that is, it's insane. It just needs to really be reworked. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is
Oh,
they need
Jeff,
to really
holy
look at
crap.
driver expenses. Holy crap. Jeff, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Jeff.
What is that? The fact
Um,
remains that a ride offered yesterday, $1.50 mile, will make you the same profit today, tomorrow, next week, regardless. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what it's going to come down to. For most people that are watching, it's probably not going to affect you in any way, unless you have a really bad week or you're doing the ant of ants accepting
well,
everything, and that's what Sergio was doing. So, at that point, maybe. Um, but
look,
yeah, I
man,
mean,
I mean, the transparency part that you're gonna know what it is, but you're gonna know what you already knew, right?
hmm,
So we ran our surveys, in our surveys unequivocally, 62% on Lyft for the last 500 trips thought that Lyft's take rate was between 50 and 75%. Okay. Well, so you all have been screaming about, oh, Lyft takes 50%, Lyft takes 75%. Okay, I get it. Now Lyft is basically saying the same thing to you all. Whatever you thought was happening, basically, you all were saying, oh, we're getting screwed. We're going to get, we're getting half the fare. Lyft is now saying, yeah, we are screwing you. We're giving you 53% or a little bit more. If you drive properly, if you're Ant, you're not going to get any of that. You're going to be right at that 70-30 cut. So to me, I mean, this is basically just saying, yeah, well, your guesses were right. This is what it is. This is what we're doing. and just putting it on paper and packaging it as transparency. So for all the people who were thinking that they were getting screwed, well, now you guys know you are getting screwed. But these are the numbers that you have to deal with. Now, the top off, I had a lot of questions about that. Let me answer that. It's called a top off or makeup. Look, after each trip, you can see what the take rate was for that specific trip, right? But then at the end of the week, it's going to be all in a bucket, obviously. Now, I had some good questions on this, Chris, which I forwarded to you, which we'll do that. We'll talk about these coming up in the next few weeks after we get some results. I already got some results. What about bonuses? What about the EV bonuses? Are they all going to be thrown into the bucket for the driver? There are some good questions out there. What about ride challenges? What about Surge, right? So to me, this is new. I don't know anything about it. I haven't driven under this system. I am going to drive under the system and figure it out. But pretty soon I'll ask you guys, just like I asked you with Uber, to send me your results, and then I'll put that in a folder. And by the time Mr. Risher comes back here, we'll have some ideas of what's happening. Initially, from the looks of it to me, the bottom 15% who are always under 70-30 cut are going to benefit from this, obviously. And the top 85% who are always above 70-30 cut may see something change, may not see something change. When everybody's up in arms and saying, oh, it's a rate cut, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to see results. What Chris said is correct, though. They're running a business there. We're running a business here. And then, ultimately, let's put that screenshot up, Chris, the letter, so we can finish this segment, and we can go a couple other things that Lyft has announced in this package. This is a letter I received literally like 15 minutes before the show. And this basically sums up exactly my thoughts on this subject, on this announcement today. And this is from Joe in Chicago, who is moving to greener pastures now, Chris. He used to be my guy in Chicago, my eyes and ears, one of the top drivers in Chicago. And he says, you know what, I'm tired of this racket. I'm going to start, looking into sales and do something else. So good luck, Joe. But this is his letter, and I think this is as good as I can sum anything up. So looking forward to today's breakdown of the new Lyft initiatives. I think I know where you stand on this, which he knew. This is where I stand. But I hope you'll talk about the commercial insurance that is not, capital not, some external expense that just happens, like city congestion taxes or airport fees. TLDR, too long to read. This insurance is an integral expense of Lyft and Uber's business model. Without it, they would not exist. I agree. If a driver cannot get reimbursed for their integral expenses like fuel and maintenance, then Lyft and Uber shouldn't be able to do this with commercial insurance, which I agree. Out of external expenses, I'm told 80% of external expenses is commercial insurance. To break it down, Lyft and Uber wouldn't exist without providing this insurance. Correct. As a rider, would you be willing to risk your life and potential medical expenses on whatever lowball cheap insurance a random driver carries? Absolutely not. Without providing commercial insurance, do their passengers, Uber and Lyft, would have no passengers. Correct. On the driver's side, would you be willing to take strangers into your car and risk financial bankruptcy if there was an accident and you get sued? Again, absolutely not. Without providing commercial insurance to their drivers, Uber and Lyft would have no drivers. Correct. Commercial insurance is a fundamental requirement of Lyft. Actually, it's a legal requirement of Lyft and Uber's business model. Without it, they could not exist. Why then do they believe it is okay to take out that expense from the very top? As drivers, we aren't allowed to take reimbursement for our fundamental requirements in running this business. We can't take fuel costs, maintenance, car washes, etc. off the top. Why should they be able to? This is BS spin of the highest order to say they are taking 24% off the top to cover external expenses and then another up to 30% of what's left just means as drivers we are allowing them a way to formalize shafting us on every trip. We cannot allow them to spin this insurance cost issue. It is their expense for their business model. It needs to come out of their share, not off the top. just like our expenses come out of our share. I second this. I ditto it. I agree with it 1,000,000%. And Joe, thank you. I know I would read this, and that's exactly what I'm feeling about this new guarantee. So,
the I gotta say though, the one thing that I think pissed me off more than anything is the way that the media picked up on this and ran
yeah,
with it. Because if you looked at some of the article titles and headlines, they're saying that the way they make it sound is that the drivers will make 70% of the total fare, like what the rider pays. So out of $100, the driver would make 70. That's if I was just a normal person, that's the way I would read it, and that's the way I would think it. But in reality, they're taking off they're normalizing this external crap, and then they're taking that 70/30 on top of the after the 24, and it's like, yeah, that just angered me because when I was looking through all the different articles and stuff, it's just like, what the hell? That doesn't even make any
well,
sense.
they said, I mean, a lot of the articles I read were almost like written by Lyft, by Yahoo, or there was one on Fox, there was some couple other ones. They said this is done in the hope of attracting more drivers to the Lyft platform.
Why do they need more
We have
drivers?
plenty. I think we have more than enough drivers to attract right on the
I mean, we're,
platform
we're going
as
to
it
be
is.
talking about we're going to be talking in a couple of segments on Lyft increasing bonuses for signups, and that it's like,
Yeah,
why?
yeah, I
But I
know.
mean,
So
the reality is like, how is that actually going to attract new drivers? I mean,
that goes to show,
in the grand scheme of things. Now, like
that goes
a
to show
couple of
how messed up the media is, bro. It's like they have no clue
oh
what they're
god, yeah,
saying, but they're just handed a piece of paper. You go, okay, put this in your paper. I'm like, okay, whatever.
yeah.
But yeah,
I think the
so
biggest thing is that needs to be searched at right now, and I think this has got to be, if it's not the number one priority, this needs to be in the top three. This commercial insurance bullshit.
yeah,
It needs either they need to account for it better, because if we run the numbers, of what Uber's making or what Lyft's making per trip, and you extrapolate that for the amount of trips that they're making per hour, per day, per quarter, the amount of money that they're collecting on a commercial insurance is absolutely astronomical.
yeah.
So I
Well,
think that's what we need to really
I think
focus on.
we need to save our little slide for that one on the upcoming shows, and
No, I get that, but what I'm saying is,
yeah,
like, there needs to be some sort of rework. Like we said before, with the 80/20 split, they had all of their operating expenses from A to Z in
yeah,
20% of the fare
yeah,
back when they started. And, now they're trying to make it where there's the floor of them maxing out at 47% of the total fare
yeah.
being done. So those types of things I think really need to be addressed, because if this commercial insurance thing is 80% or more of the 24%, there's got to be something done with the billions of trips that are done,
Yeah.
to get this back
Well,
down and
you know,
under.
as you know, I'm going down the rabbit hole on that because look, when Uber says, $100 trip, driver gets paid 50% is the take rate. Uber disagreed with that when Len Sherman wrote that article, right? They said, no, we have our expenses. This almost feels like, to me, Lyft is going the Uber way on this one, right? With a little bit more transparency, because Uber is still washy hocus pocus numbers. But this one, at least they're telling you, look, we are screwing you. This is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Well,
But
look,
I'm going the rabbit hole on that commercial insurance thing, and then I think we need to settle that. But I need to talk to more experts about that subject, because I'm not educated enough about the area, the space. But yeah, I mean, if a rider pays, by the way, the rider is paying this, right? So what's happening is that the fares are going higher as commercial insurance goes higher. Because they're passing it on. Lyft is not paying for this. Uber is not paying for commercial insurance. The rider is paying for it. So what's happening is that when the rates go up, the rider fares goes up, and then ours stays the same. And then we look like, okay, we're making less money out of the fare now, less money out of the fare. Well, like Chris said, as a business, if you cannot control your commercial insurance, and I know what's happening is that Lyft just signed a contract for 18 months. They outsource every single commercial insurance provider, as opposed to Uber, who's going more in-house now. So to me, it's like, we need to understand this, that on a trip, that's $100, $24 or 80% or $20 of that cannot be commercial insurance. It cannot be that high. If I have a full-time driver with Lyft or Uber, I can go get my own commercial insurance at $1,000 to $1,200 in California, which is ridiculously high a month. But if I'm doing 150 trips, and on the face of it, the minimum is $3, right? That's $450 a week, and I can actually pay my own commercial insurance, keep the rest of the money that Ubers and Lyft are charging me or taken out of as external fees. So to me, there is something wrong with this for sure. We all know it's wrong. It smells wrong. It looks wrong. It's bad. Are they, and Harry asked this to David during the interview. He said, so you're just saying that drivers should just trust you, that it's 24%. And he goes, yeah. And I'm going like, okay, well, we're going to keep digging into it and we're going to figure this part out. So,
yep. Well, the last thing that I want to say when it comes to this is, we've talked about how Uber has made some strong decisions over the last several quarters that has put their stock price today over $70 a share. And Lyft is commingling around the 12, 13, 13.50 range right now with their announcement. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a stock. Do not take my word as word for your investments. Do your own due diligence. But, Lyft might be a bargain at this point. Just saying. But at least when it comes on the stock, at least when it comes to, but I mean, the reality is, there definitely needs to be something that's done. There's a couple of announcements that were made. I think are good. The deactivations, I think is good. The ability to appeal. How that's going to play out, though, time will tell how that's actually going to play. Actually play out. But a couple of these other things,
look,
seeing where
getting paid on scheduled trips is good for wait time. Like you get there while rating, might as well get paid for it. I think that's a good thing. EV bonus for people who drive EVs is being extended to 5-6 different states.
That needs to go though nationally if you want to have any type of change.
Yeah, but Chris Uber is like the gorilla, and then Lyft is the little tree. Remember, so they always take smaller steps. And then on the deactivation side, look, I had actually a couple of instances last week that, and we even talked about it last show, Chris, that a driver got deactivated because some a-hole passenger complained about the driver being under the influence. And the same passenger who complained about the guy actually the night before pissed in his car because he was dead drunk, right? And Lyft sent the driver $80. We even showed the pictures on it, okay? And that driver was suspended immediately because as soon as a passenger complains about a driver, they suspend you and then they do a review. Well, now the review is going to be with a one push button process. You click the button, it automatically goes to a human review as opposed to the black hole that Lyft support is, that you just got to go back and forth, cut and paste. Why did I get deactivated? Do this, do that. And I think that's a good thing. Maybe it's not going as far as Uber's a few months ago when they announced that if you're accused of being under the influence, Uber actually is going to pay for your blood test. It doesn't go as far as theirs, but I think it's a good start, and I think there's more to come there. And there was a couple of nothing burgers in there. And one last thing, I don't know how many people in our audience were platinum or platinum plus, which was the level above platinum. They're getting rid of platinum plus, not getting rid of it. I shouldn't say getting rid of it, replacing it with something called elite level. Under the elite level, you have about 5 or 6 different perks. The top 2 that caught my eye, I think with Platinum Plus, you are getting 6 or 7% on cash back on gas. Now you're getting 10%. You're getting the same 6, fast airport rematches. You're also getting 6 area filters, which we love here, and a couple other perks. And then basically, elite drivers are going to be the top 5% drivers according to their driving score and their points. Now, I know for a fact that the point, what do you call it? Point goalpost always gets moved further and further. And this is month to month to month, by the way. And I'm pretty sure, depending on your city, but I know in a few cities, the goalpost got moved again, Chris. It's, I think, up to 1,900 points now for elite level. And so look, I am never going to get elite because I don't think the perks are enough for me to sustain that. Maybe I get it for 1 month, but then in order for you to keep it, you have to sustain that month after month after month, and that's probably more for full-time drivers than anything else. But yeah, so these are the changes. I mean, there are some good things in there. There are some neutral things in there at the moment until we find out more about it. But whatever Joe said in his letter, and I really was compelled to put that up, and a lot of people's opinion is just that, right? And what about our expenses? What about that? We're not taking that off the top. Then we have to figure it out after you take your 24% external expenses. And you know, look, we're going to find out. We're going to do our research as usual, keep our numbers, keep our data, get the data from you guys, the drivers. In the next couple of weeks, once this is more in action, I will ask you to send me your earnings reports, and old versus new, right? Because you guys are all driving now, and suddenly this is thrown on you. You know, it'll get some time to get used to. You know, we'll figure out the kinks in it, and then we'll go back and forth with Lyft, and hopefully we'll get those fixed. But yeah, this is a big change. You know, Lyft sold it as transparency. Okay, you know, yeah, I know where my money is going now, or I know at least where the passengers' money is going, to the penny. Is it going to make me more money? I don't know. Probably not. Probably it's a neutral thing. To the 15% that are on the bottom, get your asses in gear. Stop accepting every request. This is basically like, you know, cherry pickers, you know, subsidizing the ants. So, you know, change your strategy a little bit. Maybe, I mean, 85% were doing better than you. Because of you now, this guarantee thing comes around. So with all joking aside, time will tell. But my feelings could not be talked about, or my thoughts about this guarantee thing, more than what Joe said. And I agree with Joe's letter 1,000,000%.
Well, let's move on. Let's talk about some of the other things. And then towards the end of the show, we will invite everyone on who wants to come on and discuss more about either what we have talked about with this early driver benefit announcement that they had, or, you know, something else. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll put the link to the show in just a little while. So if you guys want to talk about anything with that, you'll be able to come on and talk about that. But let's move on. Let's talk about what is going on with the Uber Pro rewards, with the cash rewards that they've done. We talked about this a few months ago. No, actually, probably about a year at this point now.
Yeah,
And, you
yeah.
know, it's starting to make a comeback with the problem that's happening. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of these. Okay, drivers, friends, literally, seriously, when you guys get these things, okay, it doesn't have to be on Uber. It could be anything. It could be some offer in the mail. It could be some email. What did Chris? What do you say? Read the small print always.
Always read the fine print.
Yeah,
Always.
you know, because it's like, if it's too good to be true, it's probably true. Okay, we talked about this at least 3 times. Okay, because on the first time, people were getting their money. Now, the drivers were sent this. Now, I have a very strong opinion about this, that if a driver already achieved this, Uber, why even send this to
Yep.
them?
This shouldn't even
Huh?
be in the app. Like if
I'm
you'll know in the app, you'll know who's been paid out. You can easily remove it from their app, and then they don't see it. There's no confusion. There's no problem. Like otherwise, people are going to see this and they're going to say, "Achieve like a pro. You crushed it. You're going to be paid $300 because you did it."
Yeah,
And coming to find out, that's just a graphic that leads you into the black hole of nothingness. And now some people might be like, "Oh, I just made $300. Oh, that means maybe I can work a little bit less or take the day off or do something else."
yeah,
And, you know, at that point, then now maybe a bill is going to be past due because you were banking on that money now coming in, but you didn't
yeah,
realize because you didn't read the fine print. But then again, it shouldn't be on the driver. It shouldn't even be in your app. It should only be in the apps of drivers that could potentially qualify for this because maybe they never hit it before.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
this
so I got a lot of this saying that, oh, Serge, I did it and I'm not getting my money. And of course, they go to black hole Uber support. They're both black holes. I don't know whose is better or worse. This is the conversation back and forth. I mean, poor drivers, chasing their money. I'm not faulting the driver. He did it. He needs the money probably. And then he fell for it, right? He did it. And Uber support says, well, that's a one-time deal, sir. Well, Uber, if it's a one-time deal and you're a technology company, why do you keep sending this? I mean, this looks like nothing. I mean, nothing more than bait and switch. Oh, you go do another, a few hundred trips, become diamond, and then we'll give you an extra $300. Well, he did it already, and maybe he missed reading the small print. I'm not completely faulting the driver, but the driver has some fault in this as well. You got to read the small print. You got to know what you're dealing with. These companies are not your, best friends, okay? And sure enough, back and forth, and finally the driver gets the email or the text, the support message saying that, hey, this is only one time. You shouldn't have done it. I'm like, damn. So I got a whole bunch of this last week. Again, I'm in touch with these companies to a certain degree. I have no special powers, but I'm more than willing to share these kind of things with these companies so they can fix it or make drivers whole. We do it all the time. Now, with very high confidence, I can tell you all, whoever fell into this trap for the second time, okay, I'm telling you people, there will not be a third time. If they send you in this app and you already got it once, specifically twice, there will not be a third time. However, I can tell you with high confidence that Uber told me that everybody is going to be made whole who fell for it and did it second time. Now, I want to see some positive emails saying, Sergio, I got the money. If you're not, keep me posted. I'm told by today, latest by tomorrow morning, you should have the money in your wallet. Even if you fell for the, trick or whatever, trick or treat. And Uber's telling me that we don't have to pay. So, I'm like, okay, but we are going to pay. I'm like, okay. So that's where this stands. Uber, thank you. Much appreciated if you're doing this, really, because you didn't have to pay, but you are paying. And for all the drivers, if you did it once, don't even look at that proposition when you get it in your app again, because these people, whatever they do, they keep sending it to you. They're going to make you work for free. Don't do it. Just don't. Done. Okay? There you go.
Yep. So yeah, the other side of the coin, always read the fine print. Whatever you can do, try to find the fine print on it, read through it, and make sure. But again, simplest takeaway, you will not get that again if you've already gotten it. It says one time, it says in there specifically, this is a one-time cash payment, and it doesn't say anywhere else beyond that. So if it comes through, which again, this is something that shouldn't, Uber should be removing that completely from drivers who have already had it. I'm not going to go back into what I said, but it just needs to happen that way.
Yep.
And with that being said, let's move on. Let's talk about this global protest that's happening just in over a week, actually. February 14th, also known as Valentine's Day for the most of us and some of us. And, here's a quick reminder. If you have a significant other and you need to get them something, you have an 8-day advance already. And we'll probably remind you again next week. But yes, there's a global protest going on.
There is. So these are some of the flyers promoting, first of all, Torsten, thank you. I have a Behind the Wheel with Torsten that talks about this issue. We timed it in a way that's about a week before the protest. This is probably as widespread as the protest that I've seen, including Canada now, okay? Look, drivers are fed up, okay? Now, my personal opinion, this is only my personal opinion. I support all of these protests, okay? I question the effectiveness of these protests. One, because of just sheer math and sheer numbers. But I am in support of doing all we can to be in front in the news media, wake people up, which is happening more and more. And in fact, I talked to Torsten, and he's going to be my interview with him is going to be on our channel Thursday morning at 8 a.m. There are 2 protests happening in LA where I live. One is going to be in front of the Uber hub in Mid-Wilshire, in Mid-City. That's put together by RDU, Rideshare Drivers United. And the second one is going to be, which is the pamphlet or brochure you guys see on the right side. This is like pretty much I think in about 20 different states, Chris, and this is getting some play, obviously. Are we going to turn the apps off and cause Uber harm? No. They have so many drivers that I don't think anybody is going to care. But it is good to keep the momentum of the news in front of the media. And I have good relationships with media. And I am going to do everything I can to put this in the media, to get this written, just like Lyft had their article written in some, I don't know, couple of PR pieces, right? So PR is never wrong. Being in the media is never wrong. In fact, I have 2 interviews with a couple of major magazines and newspapers tomorrow, and I'm going to make sure this is in there, right? We're going to keep this in front of the media. I support everybody's right to protest. I support whatever they do. Mathematically, I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to try to be actually at both events, okay? Supporting the driver community. Is it going to be effective? Probably not. But the effective part of this is being in front of the news, being in front of the media, keep it in the news, right? And so, yeah, that's everybody keeps asking me, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? And I'm like, yeah, this is my announcement. So hopefully that's sufficient to all the people who asked this.
All right. So for me personally, again, I agree with you on the fact that it probably will not have certain effect. I think there's a few other things that could be done. And, anybody who wants to do this, please take it up and do it. And then send us screenshots of it because we'd like to see. These are a couple ideas that I have that I've talked about, a number of times when we were talking about protests. First off, don't turn your app off. If you don't want to drive, don't drive. Turn it on. Let the ride requests come. Let them time out. That means that the rider has to wait longer because the amount of people who are going to put their apps on and not drive and just let it ring through and let it go through, that could potentially have a little bit of backup because you're flooding it with people who do not want to drive but are going to participate in some sort of stance. So I think something like that could have a potentially bigger impact, just because it could put more time between somebody who's trying to get a ride versus not get a ride, and it could jam up the systems a little bit. So, if you don't want to turn your apps on, if you don't want to drive and you want to stand in solidarity, great. But try turning your apps on. Just don't accept a ride. Let it go through. Turn your phone on mute or something like that, so you don't have to hear your phone all the time with the pings and the requests and all that coming through. But just let it go where there could be a potential thing there. Now, if you
Actually,
are going to go to,
we talked about this with the professor, your suggestion. I mean, I think it'll work better than turning the app off, because
yeah,
then you're messing up the whole algorithm, right? And passengers are going to keep waiting. I mean, they're going to, nobody's accepting tips. Potentially, Uber may turn your app off, so pay attention to that, because they're known to do that after 5-6 pings. You don't take,
which
you let it.
is against their TOS, and we've talked about that already.
Yeah, they don't, they only like their TOS when it works for them. So like,
That's the first thing. So first thing, turn your apps on. Just don't accept a ride. Don't have to. Because again, let's say if you have 100 drivers in an area, and let's say 20 of them are normally on at any time, and let's say 10 drivers are going to participate in the strike or protest and not turn their apps on. The other 80 still could potentially be on, which means that the rides are still going to go through and all that. But if you want to turn your app on, now your request is going from phone to phone to phone, which maybe now it could go through 3, 4, 5 people's phones, depending on the concentration of the amount of drivers there. Second thing, if you are participating in the protest, sorry, I keep going and want to say strike, but protest. If you are going to participate and you want to stand with fellow drivers or get fellow drivers on board, the other thing besides going to some of these areas, because I don't know how busy the Uber area is for the Uber hub location, but you want to go somewhere where people are going to see it, go on Wilshire Boulevard, go on some of these boulevards or these streets that are going to have a lot of people, put up some signs, put a couple of people in front. and actually put up the signs saying like something with Uber, where people are actually going to see it more. Like if you go to the airport, the only people that are going to see it are the people who are traveling through the airport. Not a lot of people. If you want to get more people, you go on the main streets of the main intersections during those busy times, whether it's during rush hour, whether it's during morning, afternoon, whether it's when people are out on the most of the roads. Put those signs up, and go a couple of blocks at a time. You see that all the time. Do stuff like that where people are going to be more apt. The other thing, if you are going to drive and you're going to take advantage of that on February 14th or whatnot, talk to your passengers, tell them what's going on, because you can still take part in stand solidarity between everybody. But the other side of the coin too is everybody should talk to their passengers, because we've talked about this last week. Try to get passengers on board with drivers instead of being against each other and at odds. Bring them together, share what's going on. You'll be able to feel them out. You'll be able to have a conversation with them. And most passengers will be somewhat understanding. Some of them will just be like, go pound salt. But you will definitely reach a few that will, want to know more information. And, they'll probably be fed up with it. And one of the ways that you could do it is just on the approach. Remember, they're paying more for the ride. They're not happy about that. So you can always use that type of approach to kind of, mend that fence and get on the same page there. There's plenty of different ways to do that. There's plenty of different tactics. But the reality is we should be talking to our passengers as well, educating them what's going on, because then that's going to bring everybody onto one side. So again, those are the 3 points that I have. The first point, instead of turning your app off, if you wanted to partake in the strike, turn it on. Just don't accept anything. Let the ride request run through. Hopefully that will bug up the system a little bit. Second, if you want to stand with solidarity with people, besides some of these locations that they're talking about, like the main ones, branch off, grab a couple of the drivers and say, hey, let's go to a very busy intersection. Let's stand there. Let's grab some signs so people know what's going on. And then thirdly, talk to your passengers, let them know what's going on, and approach them from the angle that it's going to help them as well too, because they're going to be more receptive of that. Those types
Yeah.
of things I think can have a larger impact. And, right around this time, there's a lot of love in the air, being Valentine's Day and all that. So I think there's going to be a little bit more receptiveness when it comes to this going on. So
So a
those are
couple
my
things.
thoughts on that.
Okay, a couple
And what
things.
you guys want to do is up to you.
When was the last time you mentioned this? It was by maybe 4 weeks ago that you came up with this
Or
idea of keeping the apps on. We actually did it on a live stream. You said the same thing.
I think it was probably when it was first announced.
Yeah, like 4 or 5
For
weeks ago.
so yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably around a
So
month or so
whoever
ago.
whoever Indigo is, I don't know who Jeff is, but actually Chris and I talked to the professor a lot, and I guess professor and that guy is tight. So after we mentioned that, he went there. So your timeline is wrong. So you're on the wrong channel probably. The other one is this right here. Hits the nail in the head. Okay. Most markets are so oversaturated with these desperate drivers who need every dime to buy groceries, pay their rent. I get it. And that's why I'm supportive of the protest, but I don't think mathematically or conceptually, I don't think it's going to result in hurting Uber or Lyft that day anyway. So to me, I'm going to do everything I can to put it in front of the eyeballs of the world. And actually, Torsten's rideshare professors, the one that he's doing at LAX on Century, it's at LAX. So if you guys want to show up, please show up, show your support. And so that's the protest. And that's where we are with that. So yeah, let's keep it going.
All right. So yes, and then again, the Behind the Wheel series with Torsten and Sergio will be.
I'd like to know
again,
how that's
Thursday.
possible. You tell me mathematically, Ron, how that's possible. 4 million drivers, 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 100,000 protesting, either leaving the apps on or turning the apps off. Right? I don't know what city you drive in, but in LA, there's 120, just in LA County, there's 120,000 drivers. And to reach them all, I wish was a possibility. Then we can really do it. But it is a divided group as it is. And what Mike said is true. There are a lot of desperados out there. When I drive, when they put a $3 trip radar trip, Chris, and it gets snapped like this, well, somebody took that trip. So you know where we are when it comes to that issue. But
And again, going with the oversaturation, that's part of the reason why turning your app off will not have an effect overall. Turning your app on, letting it run through could potentially, because now you could be bogging the system. And again, if you're in particular areas where it's busy, you could even, like I say, you could go in these places where it's going to be busy, people are looking for rides, and then that ride request will likely come through you and a couple other drivers that you're with, which means now their wait time is going to increase because it has to pair to that driver. So those types of things, you can definitely plan and position yourselves to be able to do something like that, where it could start, breaking the system a little bit. And that could have more of an impact with less drivers who are partaking in it, but more drivers on the road as oversaturation. So those are a few things that you could try doing when it comes down to it. But just getting the words out there, talking to people, and especially, like I say, going to these particular areas, these protest areas, breaking off, and then getting your signs and stuff. That's going to help other drivers be able to know, because unfortunately, there's 6.5 million drivers on just the Uber platform worldwide right now. And tomorrow we're going to find out, probably there's going to be more than that when they have their earnings call. So we'll probably be talking about how much many drivers there are now after that quarter earnings call comes out tomorrow morning. But the reality is, there's many drivers out there. So to be able to reach all of them, or a fraction of them, is a huge feat. So one of the things, like I say, you stand on that busy intersection holding those signs, drivers are driving by. You get an area where 60,000 cars are going by in rush hour, 25,000 cars are going by rush hour. How many of those are going to be Uber and Lyft drivers? How many of those are going to be food delivery drivers? Probably quite a few. They're going to see that, and then they're going to be like, hey, what's all this about? And then they might actually try looking into these things as well too. So that's how you can reach more people as well.
Brooke, I have
Many different ways.
actually I do that every time I'm driving now. Try to educate the rider more than the drivers, because it's impossible to reach all 6 million drivers, but each one of us take 20, 25 passengers every day. And even if half of them are willing to listen, I actually put up a video. It's on the channel. It's a live recording after I got his approval of me and a passenger. Hi, approach these passengers. Hi, talk to them. Look, if somebody walks into your car, with the idea that they're on their Facebook or whatever social media, they're not going to talk to you. But you all you have to do is feel the room out, right? And then if they're receptive to your hello and whatever, willing to talk to you, you just explain to them what's going on. In fact, on the Lyft app, your fare is on the Lyft app all the way from pickup all the way to the end, right? Now, Uber doesn't show that, but Lyft does.
That's what I
And
like to
they know
see.
what they paid. There you go. Exactly. That's how it works. And you got to educate the rider, and that's got to be the pivot this year. We have to educate the rider. We're in the car with them 20, 30 times a day, and one at a time. Because look, the other thing that is true is that the rider is also now getting stretched, right? And the service quality has gone down, car quality has gone down, driver quality has gone down. Cars are showing up with broken windshields and bumpers on the floor, right? And to me, and the passenger is paying 50% more than what they were paying in 2018. So they expect some level of, service, and they're not getting it. And they're getting pissed off now because you're not doing $10 for 10 miles anymore. The subsidized fantasy land on the rider side is over. So these are all good suggestions, but feel the room first, because then they may not be in a good mood to talk to you about anything, and then they'll ding you with a 1-star. You don't want that. Just like anything else, feel the room, and then if they're open to talking to you about that subject, do it. Ask them what they paid, and then show on the Lyft app what you're receiving for that exact specific trip, because Lyft app shows you all the way to your destination what you're getting paid, unlike Uber. So but this goes for both apps. We need to start educating the riders, because they are getting pissed off. They're paying more and they're receiving less. So just like the drivers are.
And I think, you know what, Sergio, I think what we'll have to do, we'll have to put together a few different ways to approach passengers and people when it comes to how to approach them. So it's going to be on a level playing field, so you're not just like trying to attack them or anything like that. You come at them in a good way. And I think a lot of people might not know how to do that. So what we'll do is maybe we'll put up a couple of feeler questions and ways where you can like do the probing to see how receptive they are. And then that way you can start cultivating the conversation on what way it might go. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it, and it just is a matter of the potential person that's in your car, if they're even, really receptive. A lot of the times they might just get in, they're on their phone, or they're
Yeah.
playing some music on their phone or whatever. They don't want to talk. It is what it is. But you might get some people that are receptive, and then that person that you weren't able to talk to, maybe the next driver that has them, they're maybe more apt to talk to. So yeah, it's just a matter
They
of
just
getting that.
gotta plant the seed, right? Plant the seed in their head, because when they keep hearing that from driver after driver, because they're heavy time users. I mean, tomorrow when Uber announces it, they're expected to grow
Not
the
literally probing, figuratively.
figuratively. They're going to announce probably 150 million monthly active users on their platform, Chris,
Reason,
tomorrow.
thank you.
You know,
And Nathaniel,
and
thanks.
to me, it's like 150 million passengers, a lot of passengers, and we all get 20, 10, 15, 30 of them sometimes a day. If you can educate half, you do the same again the next day, you do the same again. That's how you multiply. Because as big as we are, we're not reaching not even 1% of the drivers in the US. There's 4 million Uber and Lyft drivers in the US. We're reaching the half percent of that, maybe. So I think that's a valid thing to do, because the passenger is not happy, as unhappy as the drivers are. So are the passengers. They're paying a lot more for the same trip than 3-4 years ago, and they're not happy about it. And in fact, I bet half of these 150 million people on the Uber platform have a heart and will listen to you. And once that
Well,
happens, that's when we can hurt these companies, because they're the ones,
not only
golden goose
that,
that lays the golden egg.
not only that, the car quality has gone from like right up here, and it's slowly going down. So the other thing too is, if you keep your car nice, clean, and all that, one of the best ways to judge them on that is, they get in the car and they say, "Wow, this is a nice car," or "Is this new?" or something like that, where they're actually complimenting your car, because
Yeah,
the last few probably have not been that great.
yeah,
You probably already got a one up there with them.
yeah,
So yeah, you can start asking them a couple of
yeah,
different questions. But yeah, we'll put something together where, you can take a couple of different questions, and kind of get those feeling questions to see
yeah,
where they're at, even if they're interested or whatnot. And then that way, it's basically the icebreakers that help you get that conversation flowing. And once things start flowing, then you take it where you need to. So those are a few different things, and I think we'll get that started, because yeah, getting people on board is going to be the best way, when it comes down to helping to make some changes.
yeah. That's a lot of points, man. And what was it for the Platinum Plus, Richard? Do you know? Um, that's a lot of points. That's every month after month. In order to sustain it or keep it, you have to do that month after
Oof.
month at Elite. That's a lot of points. I mean, points with Lyft is dollars, basically, the trips, and then the hours that you're driving. Obviously, busy hours are going to get points, and some hours are not going to get points, but that's a lot of points, bro.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Well, you know what?
So
Let's talk about something that is a little weird when it comes to uh, what's going on. We just talked about oversaturation of drivers, and Uber's earnings report is tomorrow morning.
yeah,
And, last quarter earning report, during their call, they said that they've gained 1.5 million new drivers to bring their total driver worldwide at 6.5 million. What is
yeah,
going on with Lyft? I'm not sure, but why are they adding more and more sign-up bonuses to drivers, to get new drivers on board? And not only that, the announcement that they made earlier was, one of the things that they said was to try to attract new drivers onto the platform. So why are
yeah,
they trying to bring new drivers onto the platform when it's probably already oversaturated as is?
yeah. I mean, this is from my app. $1,000 to refer a driver, and they get $670. So that's $1,670, Chris. Lyft is putting out for a brand spanking new driver, and they probably will show them a few ride challenges for the first month or so in the honeymoon period, right? I
Yep.
mean, literally, they're going to put out, like, I don't know, $2,500 to onboard a new driver while they're already flushed with drivers. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And the veteran that's doing a lot of trips is not going to sniff any of this, right? So I get the idea. This has been like this for 10 years now, or 12 years that rideshare has been around, right? These companies churn and burn. Average lifespan or a life of a driver, not literally, figuratively, on the platforms is 8 months or less. Okay. So here's a business model, just like, when we talked about with the guarantee, the business model that 24% right off the top is going, and they cannot control their costs. Here, they cannot control the driver either. People do it for 8 months and they go. Now they have to, and 80%, by the way, quit in less than a year. So what kind of business are we running here that we have to literally replenish the driver base every year, Chris? Literally, the whole bunch has to go, a new bunch shows up. And every time a new bunch shows up, this kind of dollars, millions, hundreds of millions, maybe potentially billions of dollars in marketing has to show up for these people to attract drivers. Well, which is it? Yahoo or whoever wrote that article in that garbage saying that, oh, Lyft did this to attract new drivers. Well, here's the money speaks, bullshit walks right here. So spending close to a couple $1,000s to attract a newbie. Maybe, Chris, they know that 70-30 split will work really well with these guys because they're going to accept everything, right? And then they're not going to know any better. By the time they know we're going to get our, $1,670 out of these people, they're not going to get that out of me because they're paying me $1,000 to refer a driver.
Well, my question is, out of the 15%, how many are brand spanking new drivers that are at that lower level? Are those the drivers that get turn and burn in a month? Are those the ones that are like, oh, this isn't doing it for me, so I don't drive anymore, and this is trying to just keep them on the platform or something? But because they'll say, oh, because you made less than the split, we're gonna bump up your earnings to that, and then they'll be like, oh, I feel nice and I feel good, and they're good. The next week is gonna run around, and the same exact thing's gonna happen. They're just gonna be like the dumbest drivers on the road.
Yeah, I mean, if there is one thing we can agree with everybody is oversaturation, right? Every market's oversaturated, pretty much, except with the exception of a couple, like, right? Boston is not, and it's top market. Some markets are not, but most people would agree that the markets are oversaturated. LA is definitely oversaturated. I mean, I cannot be more sure about that than my name. Okay. Well, why are you paying me $1,000 for a new driver? I mean, that's like cannibalizing my own business, referring a new driver and I get $1,000, they get $670, some more perks on the back end, probably some ride challenges or whatever. $2,500 for a single driver is like, that's crazy money, right?
Well, and then on top of it, they have to give 210 rides in 30 days. How many of those are actually going to do that?
I don't know, but it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money they're putting out for new drivers, while to me, at least, it doesn't look like they need any more.
Yep. Well, actually, I'm going back and it says they'll earn a bonus up to 670. So that doesn't mean that's probably the earnings guarantee is 670
potentially, but when they say that, right? So it's like,
yeah.
But again,
I don't know. I'm not sure why. I mean, maybe in the following week when they do their earnings call, we might have a little bit of insight why they're trying to recruit so many drivers. But right now,
maybe Uber is going to say, "Oops, it wasn't 6.5 million. We missed out."
Yeah, right.
It was like 2.5 million. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. No, look. The business is set up. It's been like this, churn and burn for the last 12 years. I am sure they figured out the cost of that marketing that they have put out in order what return they get of these drivers, right? They're not dumb people over there. So they figured out this is the best way, as opposed to saving all those hundreds of millions of marketing dollars and take care of the existing drivers, because we know they're going to quit anyway. So we need the new fresh blood, and then we might as well spend the money on this. I'm sure they did the numbers. Or how about this? Take all that money on the new, referrals or all the bonuses they put out to onboard drivers, pay it to the full-timers, right? Pay more to the full-timers a little bit. Show them the money, as opposed to these newbies who are going to get on auto accept, and their take rates with these people are probably like through the roof, right? So they have figured this shit out. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but let's talk about something where maybe some drivers in particular areas may want to get together, and you'll be in Oakland on March 13th.
Yes, I am going to be in Oakland on March 13th. This is put together by the James Irvine Foundation and put together by Zocalo. They're a publication and they're a media company. So I'm going to be on this panel with Alan Narcisse, who's actually the founder of Gig, Shelly Stewart, and the panel is going to be moderated by, thank you, man, moderated by Levi Shemagese, who is a good friend who used to be at Marketplace. Now she's somewhere else. And we're going to be at the new Parkway Theater in Oakland on March 13th. The event starts at 7 p.m., goes to 9 p.m. Now, there's a better part. On the left screenshot, there is a QR code. Please zap that and show up in person. The theater has capacity of 200. I told these people we're going to sell that goddamn place out. So whoever is in San Francisco or Oakland or in the Bay Area, I will put this on our community page next couple days, okay? This is not until March 13th. I'm doing it new because I want to have a show of force of drivers there. Not just for that. After the event, Chris, there is a reception with drinks and food. Free.
Ooh.
Free. So I go like, well, what better way than do a meet and greet up in San Francisco, Oakland area, Bay Area, right? And I'm going to hang out with the drivers as long as they want me to hang out. I'm staying there the night, coming back the next day. But this is the event. Please show up. Let's talk. Let's take some pictures, whatever. I'm going to show this every week. So if you're missing it this time, no. And I'm going to put this on our community page. All you have to do is in-person registration. The event is free. Coming into the theater, watching the panel speak is free. The food and drinks afterwards is free. And then we'll get to meet. See you guys in flesh up in San Francisco, because I'm pretty sure we'll have a pretty good crowd up there. And, you know, let's show these people what we're made of, right? And fill up that room with a whole bunch of drivers and then have our voices heard. But it should be a good conversation. It should be a good event. So please download the QR code and register.
Yep. So if you're in Oakland, if you're in San Francisco, or if you're in that area, or just want to travel there on March 13th, you know, Sergio is going to be doing a little meet and greet on the panel as well too. So if you want to check that out, then you can. You know, I'll be in Chicago March 1st through the 4th or something like that. So if people want to get together in Chicago, you know, we can always do that. We'll run a couple of tests out there to see how those things are going when it comes to upfront fares, EV shaving, tip shaving, ride shaving, algorithmic wage shave, all of that stuff. We'll do some tests and stuff like that and hang out and have a good time. So if anybody wants to get a hold of me, going to Jeff, look, hey, you know, it's apples to oranges, what it really is. I don't care. Those are always going to change. And, you know, that's something that Harry's had on the site for as long as he's had it. So it's really null or void. It's the amount that that Lyft is actually putting towards it. So the question is, why are they trying to recruit more drivers versus actually having somebody use the referral? So it's two different things there. So
Well,
you can try calling out the spot, but the reality is,
look, we have a crew of about 15 people here. Okay. We put out 99.99% free content out there. The quality of the content is by far and above and beyond any other channel. And the information is as well. And these people need to get paid. And, you know, this is a business. So if you guys had any idea of what goes here behind the doors, then you guys would understand. And all this other stuff that, yeah, it's got Instacart there, it's got this there, it's got Uber there, this there. You know, I can unequivocally tell you guys that the referrals used by those links and the revenue that comes in from those links is less than 3%. So they're there. They're on every single other channel. The point what Chris made is valid, that while we have we don't advertise it, right? The link is there. You click it, you click it, you don't click it, you don't click it. And I'm telling you, it's 3%. When Lyft pushes it into every driver's app saying, oh, go get another driver, go get your uncle to come drive, go get your sister come to drive, I'm going to pay you $1,000, is a completely different story than having links, which the business has to be running and the people need to get paid. And to put the content out day after day takes money to do. And we're not the Federal Reserve, so I have no excuses about any of that. And, you know, that's how YouTube is run. You got to make money for us to show up here, to do this, to write the articles, to do the videos, to do the editing. You know, a lot goes in behind the scenes that people don't know. They think we just show up and, you know, shoot the shit here, but it's not that simple.
No. All right. So, well, let's go on. Let's talk about what's going on when it comes to the airport queue and some of the things that Uber is now going to be introducing.
Lyft has this, you know, Lyft. Actually, I like Lyft better than this. This showed up again. It is my app is just every day. There are little goodies that show up. And this is like literally like when you're sitting at the airport in queue and you're like 300th and you have another hour and a half or two to go. They'll put up a trip on Trip Radar, right? You know, if you like it, you want to get out of the hellhole that you're in, that's called LAX queue or LAX holding lot. You just X fast. It says X fast, FOMO, click, just get out of Dodge. But Lyft has a really good one that they put all these trips around you, right? You can click it, look at the details. If you like one, you can grab one and get out. They don't even have to be from the LAX lot. They could be other trips that are, you know, in the vicinity. And Uber is copying Lyft on this one. I like it. I will never go to the lot when I drop off. If I get a rematch, good. If I'm not getting a rematch, I ain't going to that hellhole for 4 hours when 500 drivers are waiting. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I might as well just drive up Santa Monica and grab a trip there. But yeah, this is something new that showed up in my app. And I'm like, okay, not bad. You know, you can. I like the part that it says act fast. Other drivers will be seeing the same request. So it's Trip Radar at the airport that you're seeing. Tap to select the trip and find out in seconds if you match. So it's like Trip Radar at the queue. I'm like, all right, no problem.
Yep. Yeah. Well, moral of the story is just don't go to the airport during those busy times.
Go to the airport, drop off, and get out.
Well, yeah, if you're dropping off, that's one thing. But I mean, I don't know why anybody would sit in the lot, especially when there's 500 cars in front of you, 300 cars in front of you. It's insane.
Between X and XL and Comfort, there are always 300 to 500 cars at LAX. And then Lyft now never used to have more than 100 cars. Now Lyft has 200 plus cars. So combined, Lyft and Uber have 700 cars waiting, bro. What's going on? I don't know what's going on.
Well, about 50% of those are on both apps, you know, according to the polls.
Okay, so, fine, but still, I'm going like
a lot of cars. About 600 people.
I mean, LAX is a busy airport. Don't get me wrong. You know, LAX is the second busiest airport.
Yeah, you got what? You got like 3 flights a minute?
Yeah, no, you're gonna wait. You're gonna wait 3 hours. And then, you know, they'll throw you some garbage 3 in a row, right? Remember, we talked about that. They were logging people off at Thanksgiving. What they do at LAX, and I'm pretty sure it's the same at other queues around the country. You decline 3 in a row, bro. You're back at the queue.
Line.
Yep. They'll talk all back in the line. So all those hours you waited, and if you don't get something decent, you know, oh my God, no, don't waste your time, man.
Well, speaking of California insurance and LAX and, you know, their commercial insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Whew, get ready because our insurance is going to spike too.
Well, my insurance is doing this. So, you know how Uber always complains about, like Lyft, same thing now. 24% is going there. Uber goes, you know, we have to raise the commercial insurance because it's gone up so much because ambulance chases are hurting us, blah, blah, blah. Well, what about my insurance? Lyft, Uber, this is my cost. So should I sit here and send an in-app message to you now saying, oh, look at my insurance is up 35%. So considering my rates have stayed the same or declined under upfront fares, I'm eating that Uber and Lyft 35% right there. What about that? No, that's not money. Yeah, exactly. So my costs are going up as much, if not more than yours. So I wouldn't be sitting over there and complaining about, my costs are up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, look at my costs. That's just a minimal at 35% if you can get insurance. So stop complaining over there. Anyway, so I thought, I think that's to the point, right? My costs are going through the roof. And I'm getting paid the same, right? And
or lower.
Somebody's got to pay for that.
Or lower. Probably lower because there's less rides that are available to you and making less maybe per ride. So
yeah. So so don't complain, Uber and Lyft, and don't take that off the top because so I'm supposed to take this 35% off the top of my earnings now. I'm not even, doesn't make sense. But next one we had.
Let's talk about some fake names again.
All right, so Lyft. And endless. So I had shown the one on the left, Chris. Okay, FUCK.
Yep.
I had shown one previously on the left. That's a screen name, people. This is no joke. This is real. Okay, FUCK is the screen name. How does this person get on your platform, Lyft? How's that happen? I don't know. But I guess you're allowed maybe on different cities. Well, I'm hoping they're in different cities. I just got the one on the right. Look what it says, Chris.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know, Lyft. 2 FUCKs on the platform? How's that working out for you? You think I'm gonna pick this schmuck up?
It's definitely two, because one has that WH logo for their little avatar, and then the other one has nothing. So it's definitely two different ones. And I'm sure that it's not just two.
I know. Well, I'm sure there's more. So people, if you do run into these fake names, please send it to me. I'm not low on my fake name list. I have a huge database.
These, so I can go there and be like, yeah, I saw in the chat, somebody said, how do you pronounce that? You just roll up and say,
FUPK. You pronounce it the way I shouldn't say it.
Fuka. It's Fuka.
Okay, whatever. So we have 2 of them now floating around. That's the latest one on the right. And then Uber never stays, short of that, obviously.
What do we, I got another thing. What do we say about Uber and Lyft bonuses? What are they? What are they? What are Uber and Lyft bonuses?
It's carrot and stick.
Well, like, are they, something that you can rely on? Are they predictable? Are they
variable?
Variable. So they're unpredictable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is my Uber one.
There's another name, unpredictable.
Oh. You know what the funny thing is, though? Okay. It says start Uber X. So the guy is at the pickup. He did pick it up. And I'm like, would you pick up unpredictable at 3 a.m?
I would want to find out what personality is getting in my car first.
Well, unpredictable personality right there.
Well, that's the thing. But am I getting the cuckoo off the cuff one, or am I getting like somebody who's actually kind of sane, or is it somebody that's kind of funny? I mean,
unpredictable in which way?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the other thing is, I always greet my passengers, like when they come in the car, night, day, whatever, good evening, good morning, whatever. So when the one before the Lyft one, when they get in the car, how do I do that? Like, good morning, FUCK?
I don't know. When I always say, I'm like, what's your driver's name? Or I have to match the ride. What's the name of the account? And that's usually how I start it. But once they get in, or once it's verified, then, you do the normal, hey, how you doing type thing. So that's not the same thing that I do.
Yeah, I don't know. So, Uber, Lyft, this needs to end. I mean, I'm going to put one every week, which I've been doing for weeks and weeks and weeks now.
You might not,
so
we might have to do like a full collage just to show the sheer volume of how many there are.
We should do like a slideshow.
Yeah.
And
all
then,
right, well,
yeah. So
before there's one other thing that we're going to go to real quick, because Sergio, you don't know about this one yet. This is something that I came across, but before we do that, we do want to invite people on to the show. And hold on, here is the link. So if you want to come on, if you want to share your thoughts on what was announced earlier, if you watched the David Risher interview with Harry, then you can talk about that. If you got questions, whatever you want to say, we have the link right there that you can come on and do anything you want for a few minutes.
Something related to the topics of the show. Okay, don't come on and say, oh, I didn't get my cancellation fee or something. Whatever topics we talked about. Obviously, the Lyft changes. Obviously, whatever you guys have watched for this last hour and a half. So we'll have a half hour. We'll have people come on for a half hour.
Yeah, about. And then the one thing, hold on one second. All right. So there's a story that I came across when it came to scrolling through Facebook. And I thought this was a really good thing to kind of discuss and kind of getting in the mindset of thinking when it comes to safety, when it comes to what's going on here type thing. And, I want to know, what would you do in this situation? And then obviously I'd like to know what the chat would do in this type of situation. So let me set up the scenario, what was going on, and then, share your thoughts of what you'd want to do. So, or what you would do. So I came across this post and it says originally she says I'm by 7-Eleven and to come in, then she changes to say I'm inside. Think they wanted me to go inside as I feel it was a setup to rob my car or something else. Well, I parked in front of the door, as you can see, and called her 2 times and didn't answer. Shady as F. So then the text conversation said, "Hi, I'm by the gas station. Can you please come inside so I know you are here? Elderly woman. Sorry for the hassle. I'm by the 7-Eleven." Now it might not be, who knows? But then the driver says, "I'm here parked in front of 7-Eleven." And then the passenger replied, "Could you please come inside to get me?" And then the driver proceeded to call the passenger 2 times where they didn't answer. What would
Hmm.
you do in this situation? What would be going through your head? And where would
Okay.
you go with this?
What I would do is, first of all, I'll grab the phone, I'll grab my keys, lock my car. I mean, I can think of that I'm about to get carjacked. That would be the first thought. I'll keep my dash cam running, obviously. But I'm in a 7-Eleven. I'm in a public place, relatively safe, let's say. Not safe altogether, but relatively safe. It could be a woman on a, I don't know, on a walker or wheelchair or whatever. They may need help. I will play the game. I will not go inside 7-Eleven. I will look from the outside to scout what I'm dealing with. And if I see some shady shit going, right back in the car, lock the doors, get the hell out of Dodge. That's pretty much that's what I would do.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people in here that are saying cancel, probably a robber, things like that. So
Possibly.
automatic
If this was
cancel.
like on any other street, any other storefront or whatever, not a chance. Because it's public 7-Eleven parking lot, daylight, it's not at night. Maybe, my good Samaritan side may say, yeah, let's take a look, because if I'm there already, if I accepted the trip, might as well. But at night or anything else, no, tailpipes, not a chance. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that I saw scrolling through, and I'm like, "Huh, this is actually a good conversation." Kind of is one of those things, and I'm kind of with you on the fact that yeah, it's during the day, so
Yeah.
you have a little bit less of a chance unless you're in Oakland or something, or Chicago or some of
Right,
these
I'm
areas.
going to
There's palm
Oakland,
trees
bro.
there. There's palm trees there, so it's going to be a little bit nice and
Oh,
warm. But the fact that you call and she didn't answer after 2 times, that's kind of a
yeah,
weird flag.
yeah,
And, what I would say is always go with your gut feeling. So if you think that this is a little weird, you know, don't worry about it. Move on to the next and
yeah,
say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not getting out of my car," whatever
yeah,
reason,
yeah.
and kind of go from there. So
Oh, yeah, the fact that you
there's a
called,
lot
the
of
fact
things
that
that are
she can this looks like a third party text, right? Somebody's texting, somebody ordered a trip for this person probably, because it says elderly woman, sorry for the hassle. So whoever you're calling is not going to the actual person that's inside 7-Eleven. Something else is happening here. But
Mhm.
again, in all these cases, you are on your own, right? Have a dash cam for sure. Um, you know, yeah, I would give it a shot. That's about it. That's
Yeah, right.
all I can do.
So, we got a couple of guests that wanna come on and talk, and
All right,
again,
people.
if you would like to come on, share your thoughts about something that was discussed on today's show, link is gonna be right there in the chat, so you can come on. We have Joe and Mike, so we'll bring Joe on first. Joe, how you doing?
Good. How's it going, guys?
Hey, Joe. How you doing,
Good.
man?
Good, good. Nice to talk to you guys.
Oh,
Always good to
Um,
talk to you. But
are we dealing with a little delay? Sorry.
that's
Just wanted
okay.
to follow up on the so-called external expenses.
Okay.
Um, I don't know exactly how commercial insurance works. I know you said you guys were going to dig into it. Thorsten did a quick video earlier saying something about how Uber and Lyft package this insurance and then resell it to us in some way. I don't know how that works or what he was talking about. But in any case, there needs to be, if that's the case, some kind of transparency as to what this price is for this insurance. And if they are making a profit on this insurance by reselling it to us, then that becomes a profit center and it's definitely part of their business model that should not be coming off the top in any way.
Yeah, I agree. And we are looking into it. I mean, we're not going to say anything until we really figure it out. I did actually speak to Torsten today. I mean, he likes doing things on the spot, but to me, he's like, there are legal ways they can do that. They can buy it in bulk and buy it at wholesale and sell it at retail to the drivers. And actually, it's not really the driver. I mean, the driver's take rate is getting messed up with, obviously. But what is also happening is that the passenger, right, is paying for this. And so we did the similar thing last week. I put up a 19-mile half-hour trip that Uber's commercial insurance rate was $13.50. And then I put up a trip that was 21 miles and half-hour. Uber commercial insurance was $9.50. From what I know, commercial insurance is not charged dynamically like the platform works, right? And there is a high likelihood that they're buying up wholesale and selling into the retail, and they may be a profit center, like you said, in that external expense. And we will find out. We always find out. So I mean, look, our job is not to end these companies. Our job is just to make everything as fair and transparent as possible. So thank you for the letter, by the way. That was just the Joe that we're talking about. The letter I read is from this gentleman right here. So very well written. Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Keep up the good work. And we need to get into these details. I agree with you. We don't want Lyft and Uber to go away, but we certainly want to be treated fairly.
No doubt. And I like your external expense. I like your external expense tag over there.
Yeah. Well, all we really want is a fair fare, and that's all we should. That's what we all deserve. Too. Yeah.
See, our crowd comes up fair. I like that. There's nothing wrong with it. Hashtag fair. There we go. So, how's Chicago? Everything good? You're driving?
I haven't for about a week. I had a really bad cold last week. We did. It was a really good, busy week with a convention a couple weeks ago, and then it went back into the toilet. The usual January slowdown.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hang in there. Be safe. Stay healthy. Keep in touch. Much love. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, Joe. All right. So before we bring on a couple other guests, we do want to give your chance to win some money. So enter hashtag SMTMC. Again, hashtag SMTMC into the chat. And anybody who is in the background waiting, please wait until after you get off. You can enter into the live chat there. So then that way we don't lose you. And you'll be able to get your entry in as well. So hashtag SMTMC for your chance for $25. All right, Mike, let's bring you on. Mike, how you doing? Oh, are you even there, Mike?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Oh, trouble is here, bro.
Oh, what's going on?
Oh, my God.
What's going on, Chris?
I'm gone. Bye, guys. See you next week.
Great show. You guys hit it right on the nose with the shit. It's just a total, I don't know, my opinion, a joke. It's the usual smoke and mirrors. That's all it is. They total lies, fake accounting, whatever you want to call it. Cook the books. They're friggin'. I know, like with me, it's going to be a pay cut. In reality, 3 to 5%. It's just, it's brutal. Just another kick in the ass,
Because you're not an ant, is that why?
No, 125 rides last week. That's pretty antish. But you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
They just hammered us down so low. It's tough.
So you're going to make elite then? Elite. You may get the new beacon or whatever the heck that is.
I was last month already 1,000 points towards next month. That's how bad I've been being an ant.
You gotta do what you gotta do to eat, man.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're in a top market, by the way. Trust me.
Absolutely. I know I am. And what I make for being with Uber and Lyft from day one is a joke. It's a joke. I'm going to be the one that's subsidizing the ants. 100%.
Yeah,
And
they're
for
gonna, you know,
subsidizing
they're
ends.
bringing up the 15 and knocking
Yeah.
down the 50.
Yeah, push
Uh,
that 15% up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
no, I thought we said what we said was pretty dead on. I mean,
Oh
that's
yeah, it was spot on. When I seen your video this morning, when I got home, I was half asleep. He's not going to soft, is he? But yeah, no, you did a great job. You
Call
did a
it the
great.
way we see it, man. Call it the way we see it. You know, you like it, you like it. If you don't like, there's so many other channels. Have a nice day.
Absolutely. Now get some other guys on. I just
All
figured
right.
I'd tell you did a great.
Stay healthy, stay safe. We'll
All
chat
All right,
soon.
thanks, Mike. All right, we got Carlos coming on. Carlos, how you doing?
You're upside down, Carlos.
Hi guys, can you guys hear me?
Yep, how's it going?
Okay, we need some new faces.
Yeah.
This guy's on every show, man.
Let me say one thing.
Okay.
Let me say first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show. It's a very nice show. I love you guys. And
Love back.
what's your guys' suggestion or opinion on this? Do you guys think there should be tiers of drivers? Level 1, 10,000 trips minimum. Level 2, 20,000 trips. Level 3, 30,000 trips. There, in my opinion, there's a lot of new drivers with less than 1,000 trips. And those people are the ones who got the bonuses all last year when they should have gave people like us 15,000 trips over 5 years driving. Like, all right, if we were to push for something, like say nothing works. If one thing can work, let it be these driver tiers, man. Look, there's seniority at Del Taco where I work. There's seniority at all these warehouses that I've done. There's seniority at UPS. Oh, the guy working 20 years. Yeah, he's going to get the raise. And then the first year loader unloader, why gave him the raise? Same thing with drivers. Look, there's 1 year drivers that are acting like they've been driving for years, which is fine. Respect to every single driver. But there's drivers like us who have done over 15,000 over 5 years. And like, I'm going to keep doing it, whatever it is. And that's all I got to say. I don't like this platinum, this diamond, but what about level 1, 10,000? And let's get it straight. It's not, you're not going to get 10,000 trips in 1 year. That takes a while to get. Let's pay some respect to all these 10,000 drivers, these 20,000 trip drivers. And that's all I got to say.
I know some things that we're working on. I can't say because it's not in concrete. And, but I do agree with you. The only reason these companies won't do it is because they're going to say, you're not my employee, right? Every situation you talked about is an employer situation. UPS, warehouse, Taco Bell, whatever it is, right? They're getting away because they tell us you're not my employee. You're an independent contractor. I don't have to treat you any differently. But I do 100% agree with you that people who are full-timers, people who have very high ratings after 20,000 trips, right, should get paid more, should get the bonuses as opposed to newbies.
Exactly.
To suck them in and suck their life out, their car life out, bloods, whatever, and then they disappear, and then there goes the money, right? So I do get it. I think there is a point to it, and hopefully we'll come to something on that, within 2024. Because I agree with you. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. That's all I wanted to say, and
I agree with you.
I'm always supporting and watching.
Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Stay safe. Be healthy.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Carlos. All right, so we got Nathaniel. What's going on? How you doing?
This
Hey,
segment is
brother on
sponsored by
wheels.
Oakland, as seen on the Rideshare Guy, endorsed by Jay Creek. How you guys doing?
How you doing, bro?
Can you hear me okay? I was getting like an echo before when I had my headphones in, so I took them out. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, Chris, you're looking good, man. That program's working well for you. Probably gonna have to jump on that too after I eat my feelings out on this Sunday.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna be eating pizza too on Sunday, but it's hardcore back to carnivore after that. But thanks.
Yeah. I'm gonna make some buffalo chicken wing dip, man. I was actually home in Western New York a couple weeks ago. I didn't get to Buffalo this time, but yeah, I gotta try some of that pizza, man. Looking forward to your next video too. I haven't seen one from you in a while.
I know I've been had to take a little time off trying to get the weight back under control, and then just with the cold and the snow and all that, it's a little bit of time. So be back out probably in the next couple of weeks as it's starting to warm up.
Smart.
Hey, Nathaniel, how's everything going? I know you were on a little bit of a vacation, and then you're back driving full time still. Everything good?
Yeah, I've been kind of working my way back. My father passed away last month, so I went home to take care of him and all that. But yeah, getting back to it. Still growing my private client base and all that good stuff. Yeah, you guys got me thinking. That story about the woman at the 7-Eleven. It's almost been a year since since March 17th, and the ride I gave to that veteran who took a fall. And I wanted to share a similar story that happened to me. So I actually just got a new car. So it's a 7-seater. So I've started doing XL and Uber XL trips too. And
What happened to your boat?
I traded it in. I got a good offer. I kind of went the Gabe route and found somebody who was willing to pay me more than what it was worth, no questions asked, and got an SUV now. So yeah, so it was pretty good. I mean, I know you say don't get new cars to do rideshare, but I got bigger dreams than that too. So it's only a very small part of it. But yeah, I ended up getting a ride request, and it was like at a Salvation Army, and like this woman wheels out like these two people, and one of them can like barely walk, and she's like flagging me down, and I'm like, what did I get myself into? Right, here we go again. And so there was a big ice storm, snowstorm. I mean, it was crazy. It was like 20 degrees for like a whole week. That's really unheard of for Portland. And there was like a warming shelter that was closing down because the pipes were freezing. And they were ordering Lyft XL rides to transport these homeless people from one shelter to another. And they said that like literally like 3 drivers like canceled on them once they came up, which I can get. Like, we don't get prepared for this stuff, right? I mean, this guy could like barely walk. He literally fell down as he's getting in my car. And the guy was wearing like an adult diaper, and they're basically shoving all their worldly possessions in the back of my car, including like mobility devices. And I'm like, I just got like New Year's Eve like drunk people going from a wedding like 2 nights ago. Like what happened? But I've noticed that more and more these companies are using Lyft and Uber, similar to kind of like medical appointments. Like they're leveraging Lyft and Uber's resources to get people around. And it was just another humbling reminder of, I know not everybody's going to agree with this, but there are a lot of people, and I know from your behind the wheel interview that you did with that passenger not too long ago, Sergio, that was relying on that service to get around. Like, this isn't just like people trying to get home from the bars or people going to the airport. Like, there still are a lot of people out there that rely on this service. So I don't know. Circle of control, circle of influence.
Yeah, I mean, look, Nate is his interview and his article is on the blog, but his interview is on the channel. He did an amazing deed, paid it forward. He's one of the good guys up in Oregon. By the way, you do know that Oregon drivers are doing pretty much exactly what the Seattle, Washington drivers are doing. Are you part of that?
Yeah, drivers union came to the embassy suites here by PDX in October, introduced themselves, and they've had a couple of meetings since. Actually, the Portland Bureau of Transportation has a monthly TNC driver advisory committee, and they had their first in-person meeting since the pandemic, and I think something like 80 drivers showed up. Drivers union showed up. It's been amazing. Yeah, we're definitely mobilizing. I've been passing out flyers at the airport, just trying to get people to spread the word. And, like you said, grassroots movement. So yeah, it's amazing. We're, definitely optimistic. I actually talked to Ahmed, the other day, and yeah, there's going to be a rally, I think actually on the 14th, cause the next meeting's on the 12th. There's going to be a rally. It's not necessarily a protest, but a demonstration there at the Uber Green Light Hub on the 14th too. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Started it. You have their playbook. That's how they started it. You guys can do it. I mean, you're neighboring states. So instead of poaching into their territory, you guys have the same rights and same rates, and do the same thing in your state. So
I know Craig. Let me know. I just saw Craig again at the airport from Vancouver. I just saw him, and we got to talking a little bit. I know he's working with the drivers union too. So cool. That's what it's going to take. It was a godsend, and I'm definitely glad they're here. But
Cool.
we got to be the change that we want to see. You know what I'm saying? So
you got to do stuff to do it. Nobody's going to give it to you. So listen, stay safe, be healthy. Much appreciated. We love you. We'll see you.
Yeah, I love you too. See you guys around. Take care. Take care, everybody.
Take care, man. Bye.
All right, we got Tony coming on. Tony, how you doing?
Mr. Beard.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Good. How you doing? Did you get 400 today?
I'm over halfway there, and it's dinner shift, so
Awesome.
I should make it.
All right, yeah, I saw you on the live earlier, so I didn't comment, but
You
I
were
saw you.
lurking,
So,
huh?
huh? How
You were
about
lurking, huh?
yeah. But what's going on?
I just wanted to comment on that tier system thing, not necessarily to elaborate on that, but just to say I got an email on like Thursday last week. You have hit 9,000 rides. Congratulations. Go online. That's what it says.
Wow.
Oh, you
was
mean
like-
yeah? I got the same thing. I got the same thing on Lyft, right? You're saying on Lyft? They go like, yeah, you have
Uber.
so many chips. I'm like, that's
It was
okay.
Uber because I hit
Oh,
my
was it?
9,000th Uber trip.
Oh no, I got one from Lyft. And every time I turn my app on now, it goes, "This is how many dollars you made since you joined Lyft, and this is how many chips you've done." I'm like, okay, so what about it?
Yeah, well, tell me how much revenue I've created versus how much I kept.
Yeah, exactly. So how are things in Denver? Everything good?
Yeah, it's up and down,
Yeah,
but if you know your strategies, you can, for the most part, still hit your goals. May take
Yeah.
a little bit of a stretch of hours to do it, but
Yeah.
you just gotta game plan when to maximize those hours. Like, are you gonna just stay out and do hours that are unproductive, or maybe cut down those unproductive hours and just grind when it's just gonna be busy?
yeah. You're a pro, man. You're a veteran. You know what you're doing. Hope everybody's good, family good, kids are good. Tony has
Yeah,
6 kids, by the way. 6.
Everybody is
And a brand new
healthy
one too.
for the last 3 weeks now, so
Oh,
we're gonna
awesome.
keep on being healthy. Like 3
okay,
months
cool.
of unhealthy to now
Yeah.
3 weeks sickness free. So
Knock on wood.
yeah,
Awesome.
What do you think
Definitely
about
not on
this
my
new
head.
lifting? What do you think about this new Lyft split or whatever it's called?
well, I'll tell you what. I saw that message pop up on my app after they kicked me off, saying that I was been online too long because I forgot to turn my app off last night. I was like,
Seriously.
oh, thanks. I can't even make 70% allegedly because I can't even log on.
Oh, you left your app on sleeping. That's cool. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, what do you
I
think
need
of
to
it?
start
I mean,
using
you're
the
gonna work with
Maximo
it.
app to turn off maps.
So what do you think about it?
I think it's a bunch of you know what, malarkey.
Okay, all right.
Why can't I say the same thing? Why can't I deduct my expenses and say that they're keeping more of the fare than I am?
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
the general feeling.
It's a two-way street if they're going to play it that way, if
Yep.
they want to. Plus, they've got the edge on us because they know what they're putting into those fees, where we
Yep.
just have to take their word for fee means fee, not our cut that we're taking.
Yeah, I think 24% is, I don't know. I mean, it's my skeptic in me. I think it's too high.
It is
but,
absolutely too high when we have to have our own dang insurance in the first place. And
Yeah.
then everybody who has to have commercial insurance for whatever reason, like I have a rental, so it's commercial insurance already, as
Yeah.
well as like some cities require you to have commercial
Yeah.
insurance, or
Yeah.
if you can't get an insurance besides a commercial insurance in your city, so it's just not right that we get triple dipped on that.
Yeah,
We have
I
personal
agree.
insurance, commercial insurance, plus Lyft and Uber's insurances.
Yeah, and with the deductible, and with this, and
Right.
with that, and
And
most of
plus,
the time,
yeah.
God forbid, they're not going to pay you anyway.
Right. You
I
got to
mean,
go to
yeah.
legal Rideshare and tell them to kick their ass and get us
Yeah,
our
they do a good job there.
money and our wellness, so that we can get
Yeah.
well from being in an accident from their lack of insurance coverage. Because I did get into an accident with a Lyft vehicle
Okay.
on Lyft Flex. Somebody ran a light and hit me. I had to go into a bunch of scans, CAT scans, MRI, whatever else,
Yeah.
X-rays, all that crap. I ended up being fine. Just a lot of muscle stuff that needed to be worked out, thankfully.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that in my accident attorney was able to get Lyft to pay out something because they were undercovered. So
Okay.
they have the coverage now, but not at the time of my accident.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest
So,
problem that I
all
see.
of that money they charged me, I should get back for them lying about the insurance and charging me
I know.
for it.
I know. So we're gonna have actually Brian from Legal Rideshare on again, because I've gotten like a couple of disturbing emails, especially if you get in a crash with period 2 or 3 in certain states, and if the person that hits you is uninsured, you have nothing. You literally have nothing. You're screwed out of money, and if especially this was a hit and run, there is and no lawyer is touching this guy's case. His car is like totaled, right? And he was on
Right.
period 2 on his way. So that commercial insurance that they're taking 24% out of the top doesn't even cover uninsured motorists in some states. So I'm going like, well, we need to take a deep dive into this bullshit that's going on. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
if they're gonna give us insurance, we should have the option of what we're electing into.
yeah,
Just
I
like when
agree.
I buy insurance with a insurance broker, I get to tell them this is what I want, and they can advise me like, well, this is probably a better option because of this, this, or this. Oh, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
But that one, that's a little bloatware. I don't want that one. Or that one's undercovered. Give me more of that.
Yeah, Joshua, we're gonna put that up. I'm talking to Brian, who works at the legal rideshare. He's an attorney. He knows all the ins and outs. Instead of opening my mouth and saying something stupid and not factual, I'm gonna have him on and come on for a half hour and explain all this, because the insurance that they're charging you for 24 cents off the top of every dollar the passenger is paying actually may not be insurance that you have. You need to know what you're getting with period 1 insurance, period 2 insurance, and period 3 insurance. Hopefully all of you know what P1, P2, P3 is. But anyway, buddy, so you stay healthy, you stay safe, say hello to everybody.
One more second.
I may have Priola on the show, bro.
Nice. I may forgive him at some point, but I'm not ready yet. But I just wanted to mention that accident I had was in a Lyft vehicle with their flex drive insurance and whatever.
Oh.
But now I'm blocked from being able to rent from Lyft, even though the accident wasn't my fault.
Oh, that's nice. Wow.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
not that I want to rent from Lyft, but
Yeah,
it's just
no.
it's a it's a principle, like I didn't do anything
I
wrong.
get it.
Why are you
I get
punishing
you.
me?
I get you. All right, buddy.
All right.
You
Have a
stay
good
safe.
one.
All right.
All right, Tony, have a
Stay
good one.
driven.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All righty. Nobody else? Anybody else? Mike Smith, you wrote a lot. All I see is Mike Smith on my out of the corner on my right eye. Like, Mike Smith, come on for 5 minutes. Put out your shit on here. Let's see your face. No? No. Okay.
No.
All
But
right.
either way, a lot of stuff, a lot of follow-ups now to do. And, we're going to have a couple of weeks definitely worth of studying this information and seeing what it's actually going to turn into. So
I'm on good.
it'll be something that we're going to keep our eyes on, and then we will report to you guys exactly what's going on, so you guys know what the deal is on all of this when it comes to these earning guarantees and these 24% taking off the top crap and all of that.
Yeah. Well, I may, if the weather clears, bro, I may do my 20 in a row this weekend after this new 70-30 split.
Ooh,
I'm gonna be the perfect.
you know what?
Maybe
we should do our what you call it?
contest.
Our little bet a little contest, because I think the weather is
Well,
supposed to
no,
be.
you're not gonna take 20 in a row. I'm gonna take 20
I'm
in
not
a
gonna
row.
take 20 in a row. No.
Yeah, exactly. So let me do it this way. Let me take the 20 in a row, okay, with the new 70-30 guarantee, blah 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 blah, hocus pocus, and then we'll do our contest, which I will not be taking I will be cherry picking that. You know what I mean? Then we can actually see the difference between how cherry picking affects your take rate versus accepting everything. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's
and
keep
then
the money and let's
also,
get the heck out of Dodge.
Yep. And then also don't forget, everybody, if you haven't watched the Harry interview with Lyft CEO David Risher. Go check that out. Good interview. Harry pulled a couple of punches on him. So it was a couple of good questions there
Yeah.
that he had asked, especially the one with earnings, things like that. Also, don't forget on Thursday, Torsten will be on Behind the Wheel with Sergio talking about February 14th and what's going on there.
Yep.
Also, a couple other things from that. And then,
I'm
tomorrow
gonna put
is
I'm gonna put my Oakland trip up on the community board. Whoever is in the chat now or later, watching it later, if you catch this part of Show Me the Money today, I'm gonna be in Oakland on March 13th. Free reception, free food, free drinks after the event, but you can definitely come to the event. That's free as well. March 13th, Oakland, Parkway Theater. Supposedly decent part of town. Is there a decent part of Oakland? I'm not sure.
don't know.
But Gabe lives up there, so he'll be my bodyguard.
Nice. Yeah, he'll let you know what's going on, where to go, what not to do, where not to go, and all that.
Why not Texas?
Download the poop map though, so you don't step in any poo.
Come on, bro.
Well, it's true. I mean,
Okay,
they have a poop map
I'm
for
gonna
San
find out.
Francisco, especially if you go over the bridge.
One day, bro. One day. Now, what can happen in one day? Nothing.
All right. Well, we want to do our giveaway now, so
Yeah. Let's do
give me 1 second. Let me
it.
share this.
I get carjacked or some shit happens. So actually, I'm gonna have to use Ubers and Lyfts going to the airport and back.
Yeah, you'll just be lift jacked.
Fuck, whatever. All right, so you have whoever wins this has to email me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com within 24 hours to get the cash.
Daniel, congratulations, Daniel.
Daniel Rivas. Congrats, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. Email me. 24 hours you have to get your cash. There you go. And whoever's in San Francisco, I'm going to keep talking about it. Please come see me, meet and greet. We'll spend some time. We'll have some food, some drinks. But I will repeat this every week anyway. By then, we should get like 100 drivers in the room, sell the damn thing out, and then make some noise up there. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Yeah, and I'm not doing any special. We got somebody coming on. So
okay.
All right, let's bring on Craig. How you doing?
Oh, that's Craig from Washington.
Yeah, great. How you guys doing?
Good. I like your beanie, bro.
Yeah, I had to Weezoom put that together for me. I had to talk him into a beanie because we don't wear hats like that. We wear beanies up here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll freeze your asses up there. So
yeah.
How's it going?
I saw my buddy. Good. I saw my buddy Nathaniel with his brand new EV9.
EV9. Wow. What is that? A Hyundai?
No, it's Kia.
Right?
Kia.
A beautiful black one. It's great.
Wow.
And so I just wanted to add to that. We are going to City Hall on the 12th. Oh, there I am.
Cool.
We're going to City Hall on the 12th to present our demands or our requests for fair pay.
Yeah.
And then we're doing a demonstration at the Uber Hub on Wednesday the 14th. And we're just going to walk.
Just like that's the regular 14th protest, Valentine's Day protest, right?
Yeah, and we're right on Wadler and Broadway between there, and a very busy streets, and we're just going to walk around the block with the signs.
Okay, cool. Whatever you guys do. And how are things in Washington State?
Great. I'm still doing good. You saw my earnings last week.
Yeah, I saw those.
I'm excited. Was excited for Harry's interview because Risher actually mentioned the drivers and the riders in the same sentence.
Yeah, I think I think he got a lot out of Risher, man. He also had him at the end admit. He asked him this question. Everybody, you should go watch that interview. Seriously, good interview. He said, "What should drivers expect to earn?" I was like, "All right, Harry, nail his ass on that one." And the guy said, "Well, we know drivers earn 32, blah blah blah, but they have their expenses. If we take them out." It's the first time I see you admitted that drivers have expenses. So I'm going like, There you go. We do have expenses, bro. Anyway. All right, Craig. Much love.
Yep.
Stay healthy.
Back at you. Yep.
Keep organizing up there, bro.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do
All
it.
right.
We already have a drivers union in Oregon. We just don't have the things that Seattle has. So we're
Well,
gonna
you
get
will.
those.
Rome
Yep.
wasn't built in a day, step by step.
I'm tempted to go to Salem where they have upfront fares and just try it out, but I'm scared it'll get locked in my app.
Yeah, don't. I wouldn't mess with upfront fares. Anyway, all right. Good to see you, man.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right.
All right.
Have
Take
a good
care.
one.
All right.
And then, yeah, I think that's all set. So, tomorrow morning is Uber's earning call. So we'll be talking about that next week. Do we have anything else planned for next week's show so far? Any guests or anything?
No, we're gonna have a guest that we're gonna talk to him about the fake accounts. I'm actually working with him, Luis from Delivery TV, who has a wonderful delivery channel. And he's really the master of his community. He deals with a lot more of the Hispanic community. And we're working on this together, and a lot of journalists are picking up these stories that it's unsafe, and these fake accounts should be eradicated. And he's doing a great job on his channel, and we're going to kind of join forces and try to get all these accounts out of the way. And it's adding to oversaturation, but it's unsafe for the consumer and for everybody else. So we're going to have him on next week.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll look forward to that for next week. And with that being said, go out there, make some money, be smart, be safe, and make good decisions, or bad, depending on where you want to be in life. So whatever you want to do. All right, we'll see you guys next week. If you have any questions or anything, always hit us up or comments or anything. See you guys.
Thumbs up, please. Free.
Yep, thumbs up.